Here are our Chapter 4 problems. We have some problem solving. We have adding and subtracting with mixed numbers, multiplying and dividing with mixed numbers. Copy these down, solve them, and I'll see you in a minute. Here are our quick answers. And stay tuned for the work. So, starting with solving equations, I have a fraction added to my variable. So to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite. I'm going to subtract by 2/3. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And that's going to get rid of this, and now I've got x equals. And I'm going to find a common denominator here. My common denominator is going to be 21. Times 7, times 7, this is 14. Times 3, times 3, and this is 12. And I can't do 12 minus 14. I have to do 14 minus 12, big minus small, and that's going to give me 2 21s. And 14 is the biggest, so it's negative 2 21s. Here I have a 1/4 subtracted from my variable. In order to get rid of it, I have to add 1/4 to both sides. And that gets rid of this, and I have m equals, and I need to find a common denominator. Well, my common denominator here is going to be 8. So I still have my 5/8 here, and I'm going to change this to 2/8 by multiplying both by top and the bottom by 2. And I am adding to a positive number, so 5/8 plus 2/8 is 7/8. Here I have a 5/6 multiplied to my t. In order to get rid of anything multiplied, I've got to divide it. And to divide fractions, I'm going to flip and multiply. So I'm going to flip this over and multiply it by both sides. So that gets rid of these. I'm going to have t equals, and I am not able to cross cancel at all, so I've got to go straight across. Negative 4 times 6 is negative 24 over 25. And that's my answer there. So we move on to addition. 5 and 5, 6 plus 6 and 7, 9. So I need to find a common denominator of 6 and 9. Well, 6 and 9 both go into 18. 9 times 2 is 18. 7 times 2 is 14. 6 times 3 is 18. 5 times 3 is 15. And now I can add. 15 plus 14 is 19 18ths, and 5 plus 6 is 11. But I can't leave it like this because I have an improper fraction here. Well, 18 goes into 19 one time, and that 1 goes into my 11. So now I have 12 with 1/18 left over. So this is my answer. 9 and 1/8 minus 3 and 7/10. First, I have to find a common denominator. And 8 and 10 have the least common multiple of 40. They both go into 40. I don't have to go all the way to 80 because that just gives me bigger numbers that I then have to reduce. I might have to reduce them anyway, but I won't have to reduce them as much here. This is 28, and this is 5. Now what I want to notice here is I can't do 5 minus 28. I have to borrow one. I picked a hard one because it's the only one we're reviewing. I have to borrow one from here. That makes that 8. And I'm going to add, this becomes 1 and 5/40, which is really 45/40. And 45 minus 28 is 17/40. And 8 minus 3 is 5. And 17 is a prime number, so I know I'm done there. On to multiplication. I cannot multiply and divide with mixed numbers. I have to make them improper fractions first. I have to do the circle thing. So 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 2 is 20 over 3 times 5 is 25, and 27 over 5. Now I'm going to look to cross cancel because I want to do 20 times 27. But I know that 5 goes into 5 once, and 5 goes into 24 times, and 3 goes into 3 once, and into 27 9 times. And now I've got 36 over 1, which is really 36, and I'm happy. Again, I have to do the circle thing for division. I can't flip it and multiply until I've got my improper fractions. So doing the circle thing, that's 21, 24 over 7 divided by 6, and 5 is 11 over 6, which is really times 6 over 11. Now in looking diagonally, I have nothing I can cross cancel, so I actually have to do 24 times 6, 14. So I have 144 on the top and 77 on the bottom. And when I figure that out, 77 goes into 144 once, with how many left over? 67 77ths. There we go. And finally, for fractions, we have some sample word problems. There will be word problems on your test. So please look these over, give them a shot, and stay tuned for answers. Please try and work them out first, though. Here are our quick answers to the word problems. And stay tuned for how to work them out. When finding perimeter, I need you to remember that that's the distance around. So for this problem, that's going to be 3/8 plus 4/5 plus 3/8 plus 4/5. So set that problem up for yourself. We have 3/8 plus 4/5 plus 3/8 plus 4/5. And I need to be able to find a common denominator. Well, my common denominator of 8 and 5 is 40. So we need to set these all up with 40 as our common denominator. Times 8 is 32, and 32 times 5 is 15, and 15. So I have 30, 60, 94. 94 over 40 is my perimeter. And I need to be able to simplify this. 40 goes into 94 twice. 2 times 40 is 80, with 14 40ths left over, which is the same as divide by 2, divide by 2, 2 and 7/20 inches. That's my perimeter. My area is length times width. So that is 3/8 times 4/5. And I'm going to try cross-canceling first. 4 goes into 4 and 8. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. So now I can multiply straight across, and I have 3/10. And area is inches squared. Next, we have a rent problem. Jack pays 2/5 of the rent, and Miranda pays the rest. The rent is $15.50 a month. How much does Jack pay? Well, it says right in the problem, this is the problem that I'm doing. What is 2/5 of the rent? I can just stick $15.50 here, and the problem says, what is 2/5 of $15.50? Of means multiply. So here's my problem. So I'm going to do 2/5 times $15.50 over 1. Now I can cross-cancel this 5 conveniently, but I don't know off the top of my head how many times 5 goes into $15.50. 3 times, 1 times, 0 times. So this is going to be 3/10. So now I've got 2 times 3/10 over 1. So my answer is going to be 2 times 3/10, which is 6/20. And here we have Stacy's dog, and we need to find an average. When we find an average, we're going to take all 3 numbers, we're going to add them together, and then we're going to divide by 3 because we have 3 numbers. So we've got 6 3/4, 6 1/3, 7 1/2. First thing we do when we add is we need to find a common denominator of 4, 3, and 2. 4 and 3 is 12, and 2 also goes into 12. So our common denominator is going to be 12. 2 times 6, 1 times 6, 3 times 4, 1 times 4, 4 times 3, 3 times 3. So I've got 19 twelfths, and I've got 12 and 7 is 19. I've got 19 and 19 twelfths. But I can't leave this like this. I need to be able to fix my improper fraction. 12 goes into 19 one time. That 1 is going to go in here. So I'm going to have 20, and if I take 12 out of here, I've got 7 left over. That's subtraction. So I've got 7 twelfths left over. So now I have added them together. Now I have to divide by 3. Well, if you're going to divide by 3, but you're working on fractions, you're actually going to flip it and multiply. So I have to multiply this by 1/3. 20 and 7 twelfths times 1/3. And I've got to do the circle thing. 20 times 12 is 240, plus 7 is 247 over 12 times 1/3. Can I cross cancel? Well, let's see. 7 and 4 is 11, 12, 13. No. This is 13, this is 3. Then this number would have to be a multiple of 3. It was 12 or 15, that would work. But this is not divisible by 3, which means I'm going to have to do this the long way. So 247 over 12 times 3 is 36. Now I've got to do a little long division. How many times does 36 go into 247? 36 goes into 247 about 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 3 is 18. That's 21. Let's see if this works. 1, 4 times 4 is 3. Oh, with 31 left over, yes. So it goes in 6 times with 31 36ths left over. This is how many pounds on average Stacy's dog weighs.